everyone. In this very, very special edition of the podcast, we're doing something a bit experimental, shall we say. We're reading fan fictions.
Yay!
Do not cry of terror all at once, otherwise the internet will explode. Anyway, so what are we reading? We are reading actually one of my old fan fictions. Yes, because I used to write fan fictions, and they were mostly about Sonic the Hedgehog related. Okay, here's the thing. I managed to actually recover my old fanfiction.net account. I went with a spade. I undug it from the dirt mad recesses of the internet to basically to pull it out of the tomb. It's vermin-ridden corpse filled with worms and death and reeking of death and
like a great friend he is, he's making me read it.
Of course, I'm making Devar helping with a dramatic reading, and he's going to. Oh, we're going to enjoy this, aren't we? Oh yes, we are. Yes, we are.
And I'm going to play it as seriously as possible.
Okay, so Devar, will you do the honor and read the summary of this fanfiction I wrote?
Okay, first the title though. People need to know what it's called. Voidness of the Gods, the Shinigami edition.
Yes, I don't know why it's called the Shinigami edition. Maybe it was part of a collab or something. I honestly don't remember.
To me, it sounds like a newspaper.
So let's just call it Voidness of the Gods, or to be even more, or for short, Vodg.
Vodg. Vogue.
Go with the music.
Okay, the summary. Let's get to summarizing what the summary is. Even gods make mistakes. When driven by emotions, a tragedy of unrequited love, inspired by the famous anime, Death Note. This story is also available in the Dark Side of the Hog collab.
Oh, now remember. Yes, this story was I actually debuted this story in one giant Sonic fanfiction collaboration I made with the site. Back in the day, I was actually the self-appointed leader of the Sonic fandom, so to speak. And I used to write a lot of fanfictions, and I'm ashamed of my past.
I'm holding up a sign right now that has a screw and a ball, and it's pointing to Madhog.
Well, thank you for that.
Yes, and also a cracked pot. Okay, let's begin.
Okay, so anyway, before I start rolling my eyes at the speed of sound,
yeah,
lots of Sonic jokes on the coming. So anyway, this was from back in the period I actually thought Death Note was a smart anime. Oh boy, did I change my mind over the years.
And boy, did I turn off Death Note as soon as I thought, no, stupid.
So anyway, the only thing that this thing has in common with Death Note is the fact that it has a Shinigami in it, and it's based off a scene from Death Note. You'll recognize which one once we start reading. And also, the Shinigami is being played by Void, which was the main villain from Sonic Shuffle. And I am shipping Void with Blaze the Cat.
Wow.
Go figure.
Wow.
Go figure.
Wow, this is definitely gonna end well, isn't it, folks?
I can explain it because in my most beloved fanfiction epic I wrote, these two ended up together after a series of events. So it remained in my head that Void and Blaze were a cute couple for some reason. So it's a shipping canon, all right. And we're going to ship it like FedEx.
Well, it's original. I'll give it that.
Well, the Sonic fandom is like it's a black hole of shipping.
Everyone's paired up with everybody. Sonic is cheating on Amy with Knuckles. Knuckles is cheating on Sonic with Rouge, and Rouge is cheating on him with Shadow, and everyone's
everyone is doing the Doctor.
Anyway, should we start this now?
Yes. Well then, who should narrate? I shall narrate, if you don't mind.
All right.
A barren, blurry wasteland lay upon the eyes of the damned. A mocking uncleanness hit his viewing sight with the sheer force of a banshee's cry.
Viewing sight? What do you think you are?
I am a writer.
Carry on.
Taking his own soul with it. Such was what people usually experience before dying, because I'm an expert about death, apparently. Or when they know they are about to die. Again, I'm such an expert, apparently. I didn't know that.
Yes.
The blurriness was now completely covered in red as the damned's eyes mercilessly bled their way into painful blindness. Welcome to the circle of the deaf poets. We're going to be pretentious all year long.
Pretentious with death and pain and suffering and darkness.
How could this happen to me? I made my mistakes. Very gulp. Crimson liquid spurred out of his mouth, bathing his feeble body with it. His knees finally gave up, bringing the rest of his incapacitated corpse on the ground within a deaf thud of unpeaceful rest. See what I did there? Unpeaceful rest?
You could have said something else.
The several bullet wounds completed their task. So basically I spent an entire paragraph saying that a guy died because they shot him.
Well, you had to, be dramatic.
Am I writing the crow here? Another unfortunate soul has reached its final destination after a pitifully failed attempt to rob a bank during daylight. Once again proving that man has no control over his own destiny. And now I'm quoting Berserk of all things.
And also, you spent like one sentence on this when you could have said a guy got shot.
This is called ambience.
And setting
context.
The scene.
Setting, context.
I know, I'm a writer personally too.
Okay, so once again proving that man has no control over his destiny. I do. Dun, 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 fought the god of death right after closing his personal notebook. The man's name written on it just 40 seconds before his departure. And now, title drop. Voidness of the gods! Why are you playing the He-Man theme song of all things? What is wrong with you?
Because...
Let's just go on before we start saying with the power of graceful. How to use a death note? Rule number 1. Would you kindly read the rule number 1, Devar?
The persons whose names shall be written on this notebook will die.
No.
You don't say. Well, it's called Death Note, so I guess. Anyway, it is possible to determine how a person will die and the actions he or she could do before dying.
Could you possibly be faster?
However, if only his or her name will be written on the note without any further detail, the individual will die via heart attack 40 seconds after the writing.
I never get that part. Why heart attack and why 40 seconds?
I know. I want to know how fast do this Death Note expects you to write. What if you're like a slow writer? You're trying to think of, how do I really want this death to be epic, but how can I make it,
The slow note. Finish this.
The death will not occur if the one who wrote the name doesn't know the victim's face?
That sounds fair.
Yeah, it sounds like as if they have a point, but
It's made up logic, so might as well.
yeah, and
Okay. Now, this is a good way to start. Twisted, multi-eyed faces decorated the gangrened walls, constantly puking rivers of blood out of their mouths in an almost hypnotic fashion.
so you're saying this is taking place from the perspective of a fly?
Well, that was just the first phrase, folks. The first one. The sickened air was filled with tormented screams and begs for mercy as a seemingly endless sea of putrefied body parts desperately tried to escape the gory ground they were locked in since the beginning of time itself. Because apparently there were dead people even before time itself began. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, that sounds logical.
Here it is. Oh my gosh. Humongous eye bulbs hang from the ceilings.
Eye bulbs?
Yeah, this reminds me of Half-Life, actually. Dangling against each other for reasons that went beyond comprehension.
In other words, the author got lazy to give it a reason for it being there.
I really used to write these things? Wow. Oh, wow. Probably out of pure boredom. They say that hell is the nightmare of reason, and here I am quoting Platoon, of all films.
Madhog, the fanfiction writer of references.
Oh, I'm a regular Family Guy writer, apparently. This place was just that, a constant and merciless attack to anything that even closely resembled logic and rationality. For its ruler, however, this diabolical mess was home.
So you're a bum.
You know what they say, home is where the art is where the home is, where the art is.
Yes.
Home is where the dangling eye bulbs are, apparently.
What a messed up home.
He stood in the middle of this pandemonium, comfortably sat on his throne made of living, breathing, and still bleeding flesh and bones. Wow! And you thought that throne made of swords in Game of Thrones was creepy. Yeah. Get this lovely image. His prominent, dark, and gloomy features were the exact antithesis of the more festive, quote-unquote festive environment he lived in.
It's Christmas, everyone! Well, wait, Christmas already passed. Okay, too late for that.
Well, it's not too late for the Italian version of it, called the Epiphany. That happens on January the 6th.
Oh,
more on that on another podcast. He was a strange creature with a big round noseless head and greenish leaf-like spiky hair. He wore a black vest made of some unearthly material and a long cloak of the same anti-color. Anti-color? Really? Just because it's black, I call it anti. Wow.
That's just as bad as.
The bar. Is it possible to rage quit on your own fanfiction reading?
Actually, yes, you could, but
anyway.
but the people want to see what happens next.
Okay, I'm glad you're hyped about this.
Not really.
His hands only had 3 clawed fingers each. The being of unknown origin looked extremely bored. Oh, it's like Hades from Hercules. His job is kind of a bore, really.
You know what, I'm just saying here
The
all day.
casual observer could tell, if there would ever be one, that is. His rotund head was placed on his right fist in a typical thinking position. And now I'm referencing King Lear.
I thought you were referencing the thinker.
No, that's a specific scene from King Lear. Only I did not know at the time. His eyes were closed in deep meditation. And there you go. There really wasn't anything much to do in that sick, twisted realm other than getting bored and occasionally deciding about mortals' fate. It was the duty of a Shinigami, a god of death, such as him, to administrate the life and death of the living creatures. He had the great responsibility of collecting the individual's soul when his or her time to die would arrive. This is too much. This is too much to take.
It's just...
Wow.
It's just over-glorifying everything.
Of course it is. It's me we're talking about.
Even sitting down has to be the most, epic detail thing ever.
It was a burden, a pain, an overall an ungrateful and boring job, but someone needed to do it, and that someone was him. The salary was pretty good.
Yeah, and he was a sucker for it too.
Needless to say, that was the reason of his seemingly endless boredom. The fact that he was basically stranded in that happy-go-lucky place.
That's a big contrast from what you described.
I didn't even put quotes in happy-go-lucky. I was being serious. Wow. What's wrong with me?
Yeah, what's wrong with you, man? Were you high?
Could you say something any more cliche?
Okay.
Happy-go-lucky place forever without anyone else to speak. Oh, he's just so lonely.
Yes, it's so hard to find a date when you're a god of death.
Constantly watching the progression of the mortals' lives until their inevitable demise over and over again. You know what I want to do now? I want to try and read the next paragraph as if I was Jesse the Body Ventura.
Oh dear.
And speaking of which, his omniscient senses captivated another unfortunate soul ready to meet his maker. His eyes were wide open now, revealing the eternal nothingness of their features. Entire cosmos made of void stars lay in the seemingly endless darkness of his orbits. Without missing a breath, the Shinigami took his loyal notebook out of nowhere and began writing with a blood-filled pen the details of this individual's death.
Stop speaking with your butt cheeks.
Would you like to take over from here? Read the next line.
Let's see. Maria Robotnik, age 12, dies because of a bullet wound right after her last tearful words.
Holy jumping Satan! He killed Maria!
And not to mention that, you had to add in last tearful words.
I was thinking of Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yes,
Maria! Oh, the Maria! Maria!
Maria.
Maria, oh, Maria, Maria, Okay, let's go on. So young and so innocent, life is cruel.
Derp.
But perhaps death will be generous with her.
Oh yes, because death is really such a kind Samaritan.
Yeah, he'll take you on a bicycle ride while raindrops is still falling on my head. See,
he will also
in the background.
Death will also willingly, out of his kind heart, help an old lady across the street.
He's going to get his gold medal for good deeds in the little dead Boy Scouts. Now let's just go on.
Yes.
The first times he used to feel the pain. Now you have to say pain like you really mean it. You have to feel the pain of each and every person he forcibly killed. But then he inevitably grew accustomed to this necessary activity, letting the inevitable void to overcome his feelings. He said his name. Until it eventually became his own name. How How quaint.
Oh, such a build-up of building to this very moment.
Yes, he was Void, capital V, the chosen Grim Reaper, the Undertaker of Souls, and he's going to tell to Triple H to rest in peace.
Yes, and he is our new savior. I bow to him, for he is the second coming.
He was the holder of the Death Note, the Shinigami, forever doomed to solitude and namesake emptiness. Gloom indeed.
That sounds like as if you're basically being serious, like forever doomed to solitude and namesake emptiness. Gloomy indeed. Happy-go-lucky sort of thing.
And don't forget pain.
I guess I have to read the rule 2 next.
Yes, please do.
The eyes of a Shinigami.
Wait, I read the whole thing.
How to use a Death Note. Number 2. The eyes of a Shinigami can see a person's real name and chosen date of death. Such ability can be borrowed by a mortal under the price of half of his/her living years, unless the Shinigami itself wouldn't choose to willingly gift said mortal with its eyes.
Just a pointer. This has nothing to do with anything in the rest of the fiction.
In other words, that was pointless.
Exactly. At least the eye part.
Great! You are a real director.
That I am. It was one day like trillions he had overlived, when his namesake eyes posed themselves. Really? Posed themselves?
Apparently...
They grew legs, they came up the orbits, and they posed themselves on the table.
Yes, they're supermodel eyes.
Posed themselves over one particular creature among millions. A female anthropomorphic cat girl. And just like that, this fiction lost all credibility. With elegant purple fur, well, at least it wasn't a pony, a track on her hair tied up in the back of her head, and astounding golden eyes that managed to melt Boyd's heart like nothing has ever done before in all of its eternal non-life. It goes, yes.
Can I do it?
You complete me.
I'm sorry.
You are the love of my life, Devar. I never knew this sentiment, this feeling was possible in all my millennia of unlife.
Get in the way and I'll shoot you.
If you shoot me in the face, that means you love me, because it's Gundam logic. She was beautiful and angelic. In the Shinigami's mind, she was simply chaos's gift to the universe. What does perfect chaos have to do with anything?
I'd like to know, how does chaos relate to Blaze when she's from a different world, dimension entirely?
Well, actually, chaos is everywhere and anywhere because
yes, I know, but
abstract force or whatever. Even gods could fall in love like high school students, apparently. Oh, did I really write that?
Apparently, you were into ecchi anime too.
High school. Don't remind me. It was a dark period of my life. Apparently, yeah. But just like the next door nerd with his beautiful neighbor, oh my! What happened to the analogies? I mean, I started all classy and pretentious, and now making analogies with nerds living next door. Really?
You just wanted to appease all audiences, both pretentious and simpletons.
I have the consistency of melted glue.
Okay, keep going.
He knew he didn't have a single chance with her, and not just because of his gruesome appearance that often made him repulsed, but also because of the uncrossing, undeniable borders that separated his dimension from her own. Okay, when did this become Revenge of the Nerds? Seriously, Revenge of the Nerds. It should be called Revenge of the Nerd God, the Shinigami edition. Anyway, where was I?
Let's see.
Dimensional
Undeniable
Drone,
Borders.
here it is. It was a pain beyond reason, being so powerful and yet so weak in front of a vain emotion like love. His cosmic eyelids fixed themselves over the cat lady's image. Who fixed themselves? Really? With glue or something? Who by now had overcome all the others, carefully reading the name that appeared right under her gorgeous face.
Ladies and gentlemen, folks, the first clear signs that you have a psychotic stalker.
Yeah, and by the way, since he's only watching her, I think he's going to be bad at his job from now on.
Yeah.
Because he's only watching her, and
not anyone else.
All the other people that needs to be dying, and yeah, I think he's going to be fired by the end of the month. The name of the cat was Blaze the Cat. What an amusing, outstanding, and rather appropriate name she had, because it burned him.
Ooh, burn!
But burn! Epic void burn!
It's not even that great of a burn either. It's just stating the obvious, but in a.
What was I thinking?
You weren't, obviously.
I'm going to be like the angry video game nerd by the end of this podcast. A strange, somehow dreaming smile appeared on Void's lips. Ah, he's smiling! Ah, run for your life!
People like that should not smile.
Oh my, no.
Watchfully watched?
Oh, no.
Am I read that right?
No. Why?
Madhog. Madhog.
What?
As a writer, I am disowning you.
Why did I write watchfully watch? I thought he was clever at the time. Oh.
That's like saying I eatenly ate something.
I'm laughing and crying at the same time. He watchfully watched the young fashions. The mother, could you finish the phrase, please?
He watchfully watched the young feline's actions through his omniscient channeling vision, seemingly
talking about tunnel vision, eh?
Seemingly ignoring or pretending to, in brackets, my ad, the unmistakable date of her own death that was neatly written under her name, because, you know, you can't have it be sloppy in a book.
Even it was actually written, it was actually written on the live feed. Because they have Shinigami eyes, they can actually see the date of someone dying right below the very person they are looking at. They can do that.
Yeah, you okay now to continue? Or you?
Apparently I am. Even gods make mistakes, if driven by emotions. Damn, curse you emotions! You ruined death for everyone!
Death was such a happy time for everyone!
Okay, rule number 3, go on.
How to use a death note, number 3. There is no known way to kill a Shinigami, even though some of them might know it.
And this is actually relevant for a change. In just a matter of years, seconds for him, he learned everything about her. Oh, it's a professional stalker we're talking about.
Yes, he's a professional.
This is so romantic. She was a fighter, a strong-willed and determined woman with the ability of generating and controlling fire at her will. She's Maleficent? She's Maleficent. Oh, wait! Oh, she's a firebender!
Oh, and thousands of people were enlightened.
Yeah, and now we're going to write Sonic the Hedgehog / Avatar fanfictions. all things that only improved the Void's feelings towards her. What had started as a crush had now become a full, burning desire. He would have given up everything for her if he could. Pardon, his immortality, his eternal youth looks, everything. He had two things to give, apparently.
Yes, two things and then everything. And by the way, youth looks.
Yeah.
You probably meant youthful.
I meant to say that, yes.
Yes. So.
But deep down, I would like to. I did not have a beta reader. I did everything by my own.
Yeah.
But deep down, his desperately built up veil of illusions, he knew that would have never happened. He knew she would have never loved him back simply because she would have never known about his existence. No mortal would.
Yes, because apparently mortals don't understand anything.
Well, his existence completely overwhelms everything else in the universe. So it will be so overwhelming that simple mortals could not simply have the grasp of understanding, the power.
Are you really doing?
It's Lovecraft. It's
are you
Lovecraft,
really?
Okay.
Are you really doing this? You're defending your own fan fiction.
I'm defending Lovecraft.
Okay. Okay, just so we're on the same book.
On the same page, literally.
Yes.
Mortality was the key word. Despite his amazing efforts to pretend the opposite, he knew her date with destiny was dreadfully close, and such knowledge was tearing him apart, Lisa. Devar is actually clapping at me.
It's a sarcastic clap.
It's a clap nonetheless. I'll take one. Okay, so apparently the knowledge is so you're tearing me apart. Knowledge, says Void. Go on. This is yours.
Yeah. Why does she have to die?
Try to make a voice.
Okay, I'll try, but I never thought of a voice for Void. But
I'm aging Void a very childish-like voice, childlike voice.
Why does she have to die? She's still so young. That's just not fair.
That's not fair. He sounded extra whiny there. But the cruelty of fate was deaf to Void's cries of despair. Void? I don't know if you know this, but you're deaf, which means you are fate. So how could you possibly be deaf to yourself? Am I not getting something here?
I think it just, his brain was on lunch.
Maybe mine was. She was meant to die because that was her destiny. And I have magical mystery cure flashbacks.
And apparently
I said
destiny...
destiny more than anything else here.
Yeah, apparently destiny is part of...
Destiny, you're my destiny. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Not even a god could fight against it. Dramatic music? Here. It was the balance of the universe. Mortals were born with the sole purpose of living until they would die. That's pretty depressing.
Yeah.
Whether of old age or, like this time, prematurely. It was both painful and utter ironic that the one who had to accomplish such task and kill the one person he loved was the Shinigami himself. Oh, this is so ironic!
Such coincidence!
Whoa, my mind is like blown, man.
This makes sense for the plot, and this so happens. It's destiny.
Destiny. I maybe do that again.
Don't do it again.
I cannot make any promises. A warm and wet substance began pouring out of his once empty eyes. Its taste was bittersweet, like death used to be, like himself used to be. Sometimes, in a matter of seconds, Void was openly crying his now blood-red eyes out of pure angry sadness. How do you portray angry sadness? Oh, maybe like that scene from that episode of Adventure Time in which Finn punches his own tears. I would imagine Void punching his own tears. That would be hilarious.
You're gonna have tears, I'm fighting you.
Smashing his fists over the living floor. Oh, yeah, because it's made of body parts, right. The living floor, which made it scream in pain, but didn't convince him to stop. So he made his own floor cry in tears of pain. That's quite something.
I guess that makes a good stress reliever?
As her angelic features once again crossed his sadly omniscient view, he understood what he had to do and slowly resumed a balanced and standing position. His tears had subsided. A look of bold determination replaced them as he once again sat on his suddenly uncomfortable throne and took the cursed symbol of his power, the Death Note. He calmly observed the scene in front of him, pen in hand, until the time of act finally arrived. Oh, I'm feeling it. Are you feeling it? Because I'm feeling it.
Like an episode of Gundam.
And thus he began writing his only love's fate on the unforgiving pages of his notebook.
Blaze the cat, age 16, once having Iblis encased inside her body, miraculously survives auto-combustion and does not die. Yes, that's how Death Notes works. I'm not a fan of Death Note, and I call bullcrud on that logic.
What was I thinking?
You did the one thing. You basically got yourself in a corner and wrote this.
And that's not even the worst thing I've ever written. This is still relatively well written. At least it doesn't have any grammar mistakes. Or the one. Okay, but it does not die.
Please.
I'm loving this. I'm loving riffing my own material so much.
Please continue.
Because you know what? Because you know why? You know why? Because
Why?
it makes it because it makes me immune to criticism.
Oh my.
Let's go on.
Yes, we're almost over with this.
Because make no mistake, that's basically what happens in Death Note.
Aha. So what then?
The only difference is that I actually spelled it out for you.
Yeah.
And so he did it. He violated the inviolable law of the universe. He saved the cat girl from her pre-decided fate, and he did it for love. Perhaps I should say love, because it loved me. And he didn't even need to shoot her in the face. That's different. That's not true love.
Yeah.
The most vain and yet powerful among emotions. He knew that the consequences of his selfish actions wouldn't have passed unobserved. The balance needed to be restored, and a life needed to be sacrificed. As the rules written on the Death Note stated, there is no known way to kill a Shinigami, but on the other hand, there is nothing that would prevent a Shinigami to commit suicide. Saving a mortal's life had that consequence. Dun, dun, dun.
This fanfiction has everything.
That is the twist, which is exactly like that scene from Death Note, which I talked to you about.
Yeah.
A life for a life, and the balance was threatened no more. As his once immortal body began to pulverize, no pain was felt in the process. Void was content with it, because he had sacrificed his life for the one he loved the most, and even though she would have never known about him, he couldn't possibly be more serene, knowledge that the end was finally here. Before departing, however, there was one last thing he needed to do in order to, at least spiritually, be with his love forever. Oh no, I just remembered the ending of this.
I'm dreading this ending already.
He subconsciously smiled as his last thought crossed his mind right before disappearing. Read this one, please.
I won't need these eyes anymore. Please, take it, a gift from your secret admirer. Farewell. Oh, my Beatrix. I love you, Blaze.
And there I go referencing La Divina Commedia. Because I'm Italian.
Of course, because you have to add a name that was in no way referenced or said in the story.
You know, because Blaze is Beatrix and Void is Dante.
Uh-huh.
You know, La Divina Commedia.
Yes.
More specifically, Dante's Inferno.
Yes, Dante's Inferno.
Because I am pretentious like that.
I honestly went through 7 stages of hell and saw creepy children.
So, and thus, he vanished within a colorful dusty wind, leaving his throne for someone else to take over.
You have to be colourful about it because, death gods are like, they can be campy as much as they like.
Okay,
how to use a death note. Secret rule?
Yes, there's a secret rule, my friend. Rule.
The mortal. Yeah?
Read this and prepare to roll your eyes at the speed of sound.
The mortal, who has been granted with the Shinigami's eyes by the god of death's own will, is destined to become a Shinigami.
Prepare to call Major BS. She sat on her throne in the middle of that hellish pandemonium she'd been warped in right after trapping Iblis inside her body. She was a powerful female cat, and she looked extremely bored, as if something or rather someone important was missing in her life, even though she couldn't quite tell whom. All of a sudden, her omniscient view captivated something, and without missing a breath, she took her loyal notebook out of nowhere and began writing on it. Someone, somewhere, died. So Blaze the Cat became the new Shinigami to replace Void. So, in other words, Void saved her life only to condemn her to an eternity of this.
This is
true love.
I'm putting my brain out and leaving it and fainting.
Yes, well, it's over. It's over at the very least. I mean, you don't have to suffer for the pain anymore.
Love is...
Okay, this was one down. 46 more to go.
No more to go. No more.
Oh yes. Prepare to an eternity of torment, sufferance, and pain.
No, Destiny, why?
Destiny, you're my destiny. And this is it for now. See you next time for maybe some other dramatic fanfiction readings that we're to which torture devour with.
Ah.
Bye.
Help me! Send help!